Before we begin today's show, I want to address something that's been pressing on absolutely nobody's mind except my own, and that is this studio. I actually have a very nice desk here sitting in front of me, and a very nice computer sitting in front of me, and a very nice lamp beside me, and other stuff that would look very nice and would look better in this podcast or this political show. And of course, I've got the DeSantis background, it's not too bad, but I feel like I could get better with the studio. And so far, I have not found a way to do that because I'm working in a very limited area and space. The good news is we may have a bit of an overhaul coming, and I could have a new studio soon, or at least a new studio background, and that I could incorporate this whole set into, this whole set that you can't really see right now. So bear with me with that. And now let's get into today's episode. Donald Trump loves the FBI.
America is no longer one nation under God. Are you ready to fight for a revival? Well, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Fighting Revive with Adam Boyer.
As we get started, I will say this is a bit of a less formal episode to an extent. As you hear, my voice isn't quite right. I'm still recovering from a sickness. I'm still getting this whole setup figured out outside. I have a neighbor who likes to hunt, so you may hear the occasional gunshot once in a while. And this isn't going to be a long episode, so we're just going to have fun with it. I do want to have an element of seriousness to it, though. The question is, why would Donald Trump have any love for the FBI whatsoever? The FBI that obviously, just first of all, most importantly, most egregiously, spied on his campaign while he was running for president and coordinated with Hillary Clinton to try and take his campaign down. And then once he was president, the entire 4 years he was president, tried to undermine him every step of the way, and now continue to try and prosecute him and indict him now that he's out of office. They're actively pursuing these charges against him, and he's talking about rewarding them for it if he becomes president again, with a great, big, beautiful FBI building. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to pull up exactly what he said about the FBI. Trump said, quote, this is from Newsweek that I'm reading it from, "The FBI headquarters should not be moved to a faraway location but should stay right where it is, in a new, spectacular building in the best location in our now crime-ridden and filthy, dirty, graffiti-scarred capital," Trump said. "They should be involved in bringing back D.C., not running away from it, especially the violent crime. An important part of my platform for president is to bring back, restore, and rebuild Washington, D.C. into the crown jewel of the nation. We'll make it crime-free and great again. The FBI should not be fleeing for safer, yet much less convenient environs. It should make where they are now the safest place on earth. Don't move the FBI." Trump giving his entire full support for the FBI, throwing his full-fledged support behind it, saying they need a new spectacular building. Again, why would Trump have any particular love for the FBI? And the answer is, I don't know. It's beyond me. I'm going to go through some of the stuff here just in the past year or two from the FBI. Catholic leaders slam FBI over illegitimate targeting of Catholics as Bureau defends its investigation. This from the Daily Wire. That was a big story. Merrick Garland obviously questioned about it. Why did the memo, he kept being asked, why did the memo go out that Catholics are to be targeted as domestic extremists, and Catholics, why should they put it on an FBI watch list? Why were they trying to infiltrate parishes and talk to people's priests? And of course, Merrick Garland, he had no idea what anyone was talking about. That was a mistake. And of course, he thought it was horrifying, whatever else. He wouldn't say it didn't happen, because it did, but the FBI didn't condone it, per him. So, yeah, they were targeting Catholic leaders. Next, we'll just move right on. Acquitted pro-life activist Mark Houck reveals details of reckless FBI raid, will press charges. Along with that, FBI arrests 11 pro-lifers under Biden's Department of Justice for blocking abortion clinic with prayer and worship gathering last year. And there's more, which I will get to in just a moment. Those are the pro-life ones. The FBI and the DOJ, they go hand in hand. They have been actively trying to search out and arrest and intimidate pro-lifers. There's been several instances, I'll say since about 2020, of pro-lifers getting arrested, even if they don't make big stories, big national stories. The FBI, the police, state in this country, specifically on the federal level. They hate pro-lifers, and they are going to try to keep them out of the public square, and they've been arresting them, and that's been the FBI, which Trump is now praising. Why is he praising it? Trump, the ostensibly pro-life president, got 3 justices on the court that eventually overturned Roe v. Wade. Now, does he deserve as much credit as he gets for that? No. He picked 3 justices, which just about anyone would have picked. Amy Coney Barrett was a little bit, I guess, kind of more out of pocket, I guess, so to speak. Like, you weren't expecting her, I guess. Kavanaugh and Gorsuch, though, they were the next in line. It's not like you weren't expecting those two. Another Republican president would have given us those. FBI executes search warrant at Trump's Mar-a-Lago and document investigation. How about this? What he was raving and ranting on about for so long on Truth Social, just going on and on about for months, and he still talks about the FBI and their horrible raid at Mar-a-Lago. I'm sorry, my voice that's my Trump impression. Here we are. But why are you praising and talking about giving the FBI new grand spectacular building that supposedly, according to you, completely unconstitutionally and without cause raided your Mar-a-Lago? You're now indicted largely because of that raid in that investigation. You're now indicted on that. Again, not under... of all the Trump indictments, the ones they have him on is probably the documents, to be completely honest, because technically Trump does have classified documents, I think, or he did. And while other presidents such as Obama and Bush and even Vice President Pence and Hillary Clinton, obviously who ran, and all these others having classified stuff, obviously they're not going to get in trouble for it. So it's selective, so it's wrong. Trump shouldn't be prosecuted, but they've got him on that. The other 3 indictments are probably just completely phony, and that will probably eventually be knocked down in court, but they got him on the documents one, really. It's not like it's a strong penalty, but still, the Mar-a-Lago investigation was uncalled for. Obviously, we know all the evidence behind that. I'm not going to go back all over it about how Trump, had been in contact with the National Archives and the FBI executed a search warrant anyway. But the point stands, it's corruption, and the FBI shouldn't be doing this, and Trump is talking about rewarding them. Here's another one from Not the Bee. FBI Deputy Director admits agency redacted mentions of Joe and Hunter Biden audio recordings and documents given to Republicans. They've been trying to stop the Republicans' investigation of Hunter and Joe every step of the way, trying to get in the way of that. Trump praising the people that are actively trying to stop the investigation into the president, an investigation which would help Trump. Seriously, if we're talking about this just from a political standpoint, Trump would be helped by this, and is being helped by this investigation into Joe and Hunter. And the FBI is trying to stop it. And also, we know Joe and Hunter are guilty as homemade sin. So why, to borrow a phrase from that many in my family use, and the FBI is obviously trying to stop it, and obviously we know nothing's going to happen to Joe. There's been the impeachment inquiry open to him. He might get impeached by the House maybe, but I doubt it. I doubt it seriously. They'd have to have pretty much lockstep Republican support, which I don't think they'll get. And then even if they somehow did in the House, obviously it's not going anywhere in the Senate. So you have this one. Next one, the FBI reportedly tracked down Mike Lindell while he was on a hunting trip and seized his cell phone. That story got swept under a rug. That was like a year and a half ago at this point almost. And that story got swept under the rug. They're just just going up to a civilian. They're tracking down a civilian, Mike Lindell, and seizing his cell phone. Fine. I remember there was a story about them doing the same thing to Rudy Giuliani, too, taking his cell phone and laptop, I believe. And again, we just sweep this under the rug. We go right past it. This news cycle happens so fast these days that we just go on past it like there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, and of course, to wrap it up, mustn't forget Ray Epps. Pardon me. The Ray Epps fiasco, the man at the Capitol. We know there were several FBI agents at the Capitol. How many we're unsure of. Did the FBI completely plan the events at the Capitol on January 6th? Maybe. Maybe they did. I'm not sure how much they planned it. Obviously, they planned some of it. I don't know if the Trump people planned it, like just normal people planned it, FBI capitalized off it, or if the FBI completely started the whole thing. It's entirely possible. We know they had FBI agents there. First and foremost, of course, being Ray Epps. And, of course, he claims, there was a text came out quite a while back at this point, but he claims to have orchestrated things at the Capitol. Obviously, we have the video, that famous video of him whispering to the protesters, telling them to breach the barrier, which they then go and do. And, of course, Ray Epps, I think he got a penalty a little while back, a slight slap on the wrist. I think it was a misdemeanor charge. Let me check that. Yes. Ray Epps, a one-time Donald Trump supporter who was the target of a right-wing conspiracy theory about the January 6, 2021 attack that forced him into hiding, pleaded guilty on Wednesday to a misdemeanor charge for his role in the U.S. Capitol riot. This was 3 or 4 months ago. Nothing obviously come of that. A misdemeanor charge. The media is defending him. If you have any doubts in your mind as to whether or not Ray Epps was an FBI agent, whether or not he was guilty, he was the only January 6th member out of the hundreds that were there. The January 6th people, only one the media defends. If that alone does not tell you that he was an FBI agent and obviously was not working covertly to set things up, you're blind and you may be a lost cause. I was going to say you need to wake up. I'm not sure there's any waking you up. I think you could douse your head in a bucket of cold water, and I'm not sure you would wake up because there's nothing more for you to see. What more evidence do you need? It doesn't matter. I'm getting sidetracked. The point is, this is supposed to be a short episode. The point is, Ray Epps, obviously part of the FBI conspiracy theory, or conspiracy, I should say, at the January 6th, which of course they've used to go after Trump for years and years and years. FBI orchestrated that to a large extent at least, and Trump is praising these FBI people. He wants a new spectacular building for the FBI. He wants to support the FBI that is actively going against him, that he did not clear out, the FBI swamp that he did not drain the first time while he was president. And the Trump people, I've heard making excuses for Trump, like, yeah, I'll tell you what, I support Trump, but I don't understand why he'd make these comments. I know people like that, personally, who I believe have made those comments. I know people online that are making those comments, obviously. At some point, Trump people, when are you going to realize maybe you should be on the side, you should be supporting the guy who you don't actually have to make excuses for, but instead you can agree with the things he says. I also know at least one person personally, I'm sure there are more, who are voting for Trump purely out of political spite. In their own words, pure political spite. And they're supporting Trump and no one else in 2024, regardless of who the nominee is. I think that's a horrible idea. If you prefer to satisfy your own vengeful lusts for revenge out of spite, if you care more about that than saving the country, you are not worthy of being called an American. And I'm sorry, and that's just a fact, and you need to do some serious soul searching. Folks, this has been Fight and Revive with Adam Boyer. Don't forget to follow me on all the different audio platforms and Facebook as well. I'm on YouTube, of course. Don't forget about that. You can subscribe to the channel there. That would be very much appreciated by myself. Happy New Year, folks. I'm recording this on New Year's Day. I'm not sure when exactly it's going to be out, but Happy New Year. Hopefully we'll be back to a normal Fight and Revive episode shortly. And of course, don't forget, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you'll get exclusive YouTube shorts over there. I do a lot of YouTube shorts as well. And I believe there'll be a Jeremy's Chocolate review coming soon as well, so stay tuned for that. Folks, have a happy new year. This has been Fight and Revive with Adam Boyer. You'll have a great day.